Yes, they did. Ring the Dinkster on another lovely night for streaming. How is everyone doing? We have quite a few folks in here tonight, which is nice to see. Thank you, first of all, to Hot Creamy Fart for the $2 tip right off the bat. He said you took all the tingle out of my idea. Maybe. And I'm sorry if that's the case. Hello, everyone. Hello. I usually reel through all the names, but there's so many of you in there at the moment. I'll just say hello all. Welcome to tonight's stream. There's a lot to talk about. I don't know how much we'll actually go into it because, let's just put it this way. The fatigue has hit hard. And it's not nice. But anyway, we'll get into it. Yeah, so first things first, let's crack open a drink, shall we? Big Shark, you knew this was coming. You knew this was coming. Cheers, everyone. And we're in the season of Christmas, so happy holidays, everyone. And happy, is it Hanukkah, Big Shark? Are you celebrating that? Have I got my Jewish holiday correct? I might not have, but yeah. I'm just going to turn the music down in my ears. It's quite loud. Where to even begin? Camp Cretaceous Season 4 came out yesterday. And I knew I was streaming tonight, so I watched the whole thing. Now, everyone who has watched my previous streams already knows my opinion on Camp Cretaceous. One, I need to get this out of the way first, right? This is like a little disclaimer for anyone watching this video who hasn't heard my opinions before. I understand the show is aimed at children. That doesn't mean it has to be a bad show, right? In terms of quality. Camp Cretaceous is kind of halfway there. It's not the worst show ever, but like in terms of its quality, but it's not the best. It could be. And considering the, let's put it this way, the money Universal could throw at this thing to make it top quality, I'm surprised it is the way it is. But anyway, now going into this new season, I knew the Spinosaurus was going to return for a long time because I was told via a certain director of the movies, told me in private a while ago, because I was talking about the Spinosaurus. He's like, it returns in Camp Cretaceous. And I also knew they didn't go to sauna. And I knew that before they'd even announced Season 4. So I knew that going in. So like when all fans were going, oh, they're going to sauna and stuff, I was like going, oh no, they don't. But I had no idea about the robots. I had no idea of the biomes, like the walls, which on my Discord, you guys know that I called that off the bat. As soon as I saw the teaser with the glitching thing, I was like, they're inside like fake environments, which isn't actually, I don't, just for some content, just for clarity, that's the word I'm looking for. I don't not like that idea. The idea of like the screens and the biomes, but the things it brings up, questions it brings up, which Camp Cretaceous kind of answers, because it has the Pteranodon fly into the wall. It's like, what about the T-Rex? What about the Spinosaurus? Don't they run into the wall? So I know it's a cartoon, which is an excuse you're going to hear a lot from people who really like the show, and also the creators, I guess, and anyone who really likes it. But anyway, is like, you would think in Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla versus Kong, whichever way around it is, they show right off the bat in that movie, Kong just rips a tree up and throws it. He knows he's inside a biome, so they kind of answer that question immediately. They didn't show a shot of him walking along and boom. It's like he knew where the limits were. But what about these dinosaurs, right? They're not as smart as Kong. Kong is like a human level of intelligence. He had a whole civilization, and that's a different franchise altogether. I was thinking, why did these biomes have like smashed glass and stuff? Like, it just seemed stupid when you think about it for more than 5 seconds. But I didn't mind it compared to the robots. Anyway, I could go really deep into how the show is all the flaws, like I did with season 3 and all that, like all the continuity errors and all the missed opportunities and all the disconnects within the show itself and all that sort of stuff. I could go down that rabbit hole and be here forever. And don't worry, Ethan, he asks, still, how does Die Hard have any connection to Jurassic World? I will tell you. Okay, I will tell you. But before I go down, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of just ripping Camp Cretaceous apart, because I've done it, and I've said my thing about it. I've never considered the show canon, even though like Universal considers it canon, and a lot of fans do. You know, they consider it canon. Oh, it happened in the universe, all this sort of stuff of Jurassic. I do not. In my head canon, as they call it, I've never felt it, and that's the thing for me. It's like when you watch something. Like, take the Alien franchise, for example. When I watched the Alien franchise, like Prometheus, Covenant, Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, I get this feeling that they are connected. Like, there's this thing. Like, it's like this invisible tether from my heart, I guess I'll use that. My heart tells me I can feel it, that they're connected. When I get to Alien Resurrection, that has gone. Like, it just does. It's just severed. Like, someone just snipped it with a pair of scissors, and it's not canon in my eyes, even though it's meant to be. It's just like, I just don't feel it. I don't believe after Alien 3 that they cloned Ripley 200 years later, and like the AVP and AVP 2 movie, same thing. Never felt the connection. It was just gone. And then Camp Cretaceous came along, season 1, and I watched it, and right off the bat, episode 1, there was someone had snipped it and didn't feel it. I was like, yeah, this doesn't feel like canon. It doesn't feel like it exists in that universe. And it wasn't even so much like how crazy it was. It was just the believability. Like, do you believe this is actually happening at the same time? And, you know, they have to try and sell you on that idea. And I know they're aiming towards kids, so there's a lot of silly, stupid, over-the-top, really over-the-top stuff in that show. But that's not even really what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about, like, when you watch it, sit down, do you believe it's actually happening at the same time? And I think for me, no, Camp Cretaceous, I never felt it. So fundamentally, I just don't feel that connection. I've talked about on previous streams, the original title for this stream, by the way, tonight was just Only Headcanon Remains. But then I was deciding on like what to call it, and I was like, no, you know what, I'm going to call it the most clickbaity title ever. But as some of you know, I consider the Jan de Bont film Twister canon with the Jurassic Park universe, because I get that thread. That thread is just that headcanon thread. It's like, yeah, Twister's in there. Like, whenever I watch Twister, I feel like it's in that same universe. It just has that connection. And more recently, I watched Arachnophobia, which had I'm going to use this thread analogy. It didn't have a solid thread, but it was like more than Camp Cretaceous. And I was watching, I was like, oh god, I could probably consider this canon in the Jurassic universe. And I need to sit on that a little bit longer before I add that in. But it was close, and maybe Arachnophobia, is it Frank Marshall directed that movie? Is in there. But do I go down the rabbit hole already? Like, okay, just to finish Camp Cretaceous right for a second. Camp Cretaceous season 4 is so insane that I was just like, well, at least this series, as we're nicknaming the Scanon, because it's basically they took the old Jurassic Park 3 video game Scan Command and translated it to a series. Scanon Supremacy, as we're calling it. Because I never considered it canon to begin with. When I was watching the show, I was seeing all this craziness. I was seeing how like awful it was and all that sort of stuff. I was sitting there going, if this wasn't considered canon, I'd be having a blast with it. Like, it'd be just stupid fun. Because I made a video, which is still on this channel, if you want to go back and look for it, called How Crazy Can Jurassic Park Get? Or How Crazy Can Jurassic Get? And that video was all about like the limitations between what the movies show and how they push the boundaries of believability at times, and how each new chapter tends to do that. But it's like the movies have to figure out a way of pushing what you know about that universe, but without going over this sort of like invisible line that we all have in our heads about what can be acceptable. Now, obviously, we all have different thresholds. Like, for me, the first instance where that broke when I was a kid was when Kelly kicked the raptor through the window. And I was like, oh, like, I don't believe that happened, but I can see that it did, so I have to go with it and all this sort of stuff. And it went over that line. Then as I got older, that threshold kind of has gone back a bit. And when I look back at the original film, I'm like Lex hacking into the computer systems, all that sort of stuff. I'm like, this stupid fun movie. That's what it is. That's what this franchise is, right? Stupid fun. But the films tend to ride this like believable sort of grey area, right? For some people in the newer movies, like when the dust cloud, which officially is known as a dust cloud, but you know, with no one saying it in the movie, it looks like a pyroclastic flow, hits Owen. That's where it crossed over the threshold for a lot of people. They just did not accept that. They're like, how could he survive that? I did bring up on that little note that Owen jumping off the cliff into the water, you saw how big that cliff was. That's actually more unbelievable. But as I've gotten older, like, it's sort of gone forwards and it's sort of ebbed and flowed in my head. Like, I look back at The Lost World now, and when I was younger, actually, and even today, I always thought the cheeseburger line was a bit naff, because it was like, we just saw Sarah screaming for her life over this precipice, and then 5 seconds later, she's joking about having no onions on her cheeseburger or whatever. It's like, I don't believe a person would really joke about that. Then I go back to the first film, and Tim makes jokes. I'm like, okay, the films have this sort of weird fun adventureness to them where they do sort of go over the line a little bit, but only by really a little bit. And there's when you're seeing real people do these things, there's a little bit more of a groundedness, I feel, to the live action movies. But yeah, that's that. And then in that video, I discussed that kind of stuff, and then I talked about the expanded media. And I said in that video that my opinion at the time, which still kind of holds up, is that the films do their own thing. The expanded media, as long as it's not canon, they can do whatever the hell they want. They can just go absolutely insane. You know, that's why Chaos Effect, the toy line, was so successful for kids. Like, it was like, just go mad, right? Just go insane. But when you tether it to the hard canon, there is those set of rules from the movies, the prime canon, that should apply to the expanded media. Now, they can do the same thing by pushing the boundaries a little bit, but only really by a little bit. You can't go too crazy. So when I was watching Camp Cretaceous, even seasons 1, 2, and 3, I was like, this doesn't feel like canon to me, so I'm not considering it canon. It's just a fun, stupid side story, a what if, right? Then season 4 came out, and I was like, oh my god, this is so severely not canon now that it's like, okay, that's fine. But if this wasn't canon, I wouldn't be complaining. So that's, you know, there's just I use the word fundamental a lot because it's really deep to the core. Like, there is just a huge precipice of a disconnect between Camp Cretaceous and the movies for me. Like, I know it's aimed at kids. Again, it's meant to be stupid for them. That's how they've sort of designed it. They don't want to treat their kids like adults. They want to sell toys. That's basically what they want to do. So I'm like watching it. I'm just like, this is just not Jurassic. And I usually hate that phrase, but it's just not Jurassic. And I hate that phrase because I have Twister in my canon, which isn't Jurassic technically, but it really feels like Jurassic. And now we come on to Die Hard. Okay. Jack looks like the dude who plays Faramir. Hey, I'll take it. He's a good looking chap. Okay. So, Die Hard. Ethan, you've been waiting for this. Ethan, you need to know this about me. I consider a lot of things that aren't canon together with each other. Like the Martian, the Ridley Scott movie, The Martian. I consider that part of the alien universe because it feels like it really could be set on Earth way before Wayland took over. Anyway, besides the point. Let's go on to Die Hard. I've made notes, so I'm going to read you my notes because it's last month. So back in October, me and my wife spent the whole month watching horror movies. Then November came along and we decided, let's just watch action movies. So November became the action movie month. And then December has come along. I forgot the month then. December came along. And we thought, well, action movies to December, Christmas movies, holiday movies, that sort of thing. What better to start off the month with Die Hard? So last night we watched Die Hard 1. And after spending the day watching Camp Cretaceous, and then watching Die Hard, obviously Jurassic's on my mind, but it was like fate. It was like fate just came knocking on the door and went, Jack, look, I know you're disappointed with the way canon has gone with Jurassic and Camp Cretaceous. Here's an action movie that might as well just slot perfectly into Jurassic canon for you. Another chapter in your head canon. Now bear in mind, okay, this only applies. Now I'm talking about my head canon here, so you guys listening, I'm not saying you have to accept this. This is my own personal opinion. This is my own little story I'm threading in my mind of like the universe of Jurassic and fleshing it out, just having fun, right? What movies I think genuinely fit. Okay, now there are some rules. There are some rules to my own headcanon timeline. One of the rules, and this played into Twister, is has to fit tonally. No actors can contradict. So no, and obviously this is dangerous if they keep making Jurassic stuff that I consider canon. The actor thing could be funny, but either way, it's just a bit of fun. But no actors overlap, okay? And I think that's it, really. Just fits tonally, and none of the actors contradict. So all the actors are like new. So you have all these new characters. And that's why this only applies to Die Hard 1. Because as soon as you get into Die Hard 2 and Die Hard with a Vengeance, especially with Samuel L. Jackson, it ruins it, right? So Die Hard 1, you just take that out of its own canon and slot it into Jurassic. And this is why. This is why it's better canon than Camp Cretaceous, okay? Firstly, let's get this right off the bat, okay? No actors overlap the Jurassic movies. As far as I can tell. Unless you go beyond Die Hard 1. That's basically what I've said, yeah. Tonally, outside of the swearing, it actually really fits Jurassic. And do you know why that is? Because the director of, for me anyway, the director of photography was Jan de Bont, the director of Twister. So it has this look and feel of Twister, which I connect to Jurassic. So I was like, oh my word. Okay, I saw his name come up in the credits, and I was like, that's interesting. That was the first thing. Like, I put on Die Hard, and the first thing, I was like, Jan de Bont. Okay, that was the first little spark for this little thing I've got going on tonight. Okay, so tonally, and no actors overlap. So already it's ticked the two main boxes. Okay, now, you think, actually there is a third point, considering what I did with Twister. Obviously the story, timeline-wise and everything, it has to fit, right? Because in Twister, it's set in 1996, so the world doesn't know about the dinosaurs yet. The San Diego incident hasn't happened. And also, what was I going to say? My God, I've just had a complete brain melt. Oh yeah, Ian Malcolm had broken his NDA by that point, I believe, in 1996, but no one really believed him. Like, it was kind of like one of those stories. So none of the characters are actually going to suddenly talk about dinosaurs, right? Interestingly enough, though, in Arachnophobia, one of the first bits of dialogue in the opening of the movie is they're going into the deep jungle and they're like, are you out here searching for dinosaurs? And it's like kind of a neat little thing. Anyway, back to Die Hard. So it has to like fit in the, like, the events of the movie can't contradict what we know is happening in the universe. So Die Hard is set in 1988. Okay, so 1988. What was happening in the Jurassic timeline in 1988? They were moving the T-Rex, the main Tyrannosaur on Isla Nublar was being born. So being born on Sauna, but like the InGen was experimenting with the dinosaurs, all still in secret, okay? The world does not know about the dinosaurs. However, okay. Whew. Okay, ready for this? I thought this was so good. And also, before I get into this, bear in mind, okay, how many bloody contradictions Camp Cretaceous has in it, and even the movies of Jurassic have in themselves, like the map in Fallen Kingdom, all that sort of stuff. Just keep that in mind for a thing in this story, okay? Alright. So in the Jurassic Park novel, right, the investors of the park are Japanese. In the movie, We're not told who they are, but it's safe to assume that they remain Japanese. And they are represented by Gennaro in the movie, right? Gennaro says, your investors who I represent are deeply concerned. So those investors he represents who are deeply concerned and they will pull their funding, all that sort of stuff, we're safe to assume they're Japanese. We never learn anything about them in the actual movie canon, but in the novel they're stated as Japanese. So go with that. They remain Japanese, okay? John McClane's wife, Holly McClane, she works for a Japanese company called the Nakatomi Corporation. And her maiden name is Gennaro. Okay. Soon as they were saying that on screen, I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. Holly and Donald are brother and sister, and both work for the Nakatomi Corporation. Perhaps the reason the Nakatomi Corporation invested in InGen was because they needed a huge boost in funding to make up for their losses after the 1988 terrorist incident. Or, and this is the or perhaps the reason they were deeply concerned, as Donald puts it, is because they don't want any more blood against the company name. Okay, so there's this scene in Die Hard where they're walking through this room and there's all these like models of things the Nakatomi Corporation is invested in. No islands, unfortunately. I was like, if there was a little island one, I was like, oh, that would be Nublar. But they invest in other things, right? And obviously the InGen Corporation and stuff, everything they're doing is completely secret. So they wouldn't have a model just in the middle of the thing because people would start asking questions. So anyway, so it could be that they invested in InGen after the terrorist incident, or they invested in InGen, you know, it's more likely before, but they were deeply concerned about the death because they were like, look, we've already had all this terrorist stuff, and it's like, we don't want any more blood on our hands, send Gennaro out there, Holly's brother. So he's a lawyer for the Nakatomi Corporation, and Holly is, well, she became the head after the guy got killed, but then quit, I believe. Anyway, now, like I said, Jan de Bont is another connection. Also a connection in terms of tone is the technology of the building of the Nakatomi Tower. Okay, when they go in, Bruce Willis starts pressing a touchscreen, and he's like, cute toy. And we know in 1993, Lex is like, they're like, what is it? An interactive CD-ROM, and she's pressing the screen. Okay, so the building is made like there's like this technological aspect to Die Hard, where the building has all this high-tech gizmos and doors and all that sort of stuff, and it's like, okay, cool, that seems to fit the universe of Jurassic at the time. Now here is how when we get into the continuity error. Okay, bear in mind, like I said, this is one continuity error which kind of disconnects. I know Die Hard's not actually connected, but Die Hard disconnects in the headcanon a little bit, but I'm willing to overlook it because of the insane amount that Camp Cretaceous has, and also the stupid amount that the films have with each other that I already overlook and consider them canon. So here we go. And I've ripped this off a website, this chunk of text, so I'm just going to read it to you. An interesting piece of trivia. I think no one knows how to spell Holly's name properly, even the guys that made the first Die Hard. Okay. She is credited as Gennaro, so Gennaro, which is exactly the same as Donald Gennaro. So in the credits of Die Hard, she is called Gennaro, spelled exactly the same as Gennaro in Jurassic Park. However, the name on her office door says Gennaro, Gennero. Okay, so that's spelt wrong, so they wouldn't be siblings if that was the case. However, the computer touchscreen in the lobby of the Nakatomi Plaza didn't clarify anything because it showed Gennaro at first, which changed to Gennaro upon being touched by John McClane. So he touches a button and the name changes. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. I'm overlooking it. They're brother and sister. It's in my headcanon. Die Hard 1 is about the investors of Jurassic Park. Boom! This area of the canon never explored in a realistic way, fits tonally with the Jurassic, outside of maybe the blood, but it's not actually that bad when you watch the movie and compare. I mean, there's one bit where a guy's knees gets blown up and that's kind of like, ugh, but it's no more really graphic than Ray's arm, really. It's more than just the violent nature of it and the swearing. The swearing is like pff, all over the place, but that's the only thing that was tonally different, but it wasn't that bad because, you know, it's just a lot of F-bombs. But yeah, so in my headcanon, Die Hard is set in 1988 and it is about the investors of Jurassic Park. There you go. Ethan says, which character has Gennaro name? It's Holly. She's called Holly Gennaro. That's her maiden name. Or Gennaro, sorry. Gennaro. She's credited as Gennaro. That's the main one. She gets credited. And I think even in Jurassic Park, like it sounds like Gennaro, but it's Gennaro. And then I think this was Gennaro. You can. It doesn't really matter. Ethan says, do you have a video that shows your own headcanon in Jurassic franchise? Well, it's funny you say that because I'm actually going to work on like a good solid video about this once Dominion is out. Once Jurassic World Dominion comes out, then I'll go through my headcanon of what I believe is like the best story of Jurassic to be told. And it's like regardless of how officially Jurassic something is. So anyway, that is why I think Die Hard is better than Camp Cretaceous. And it's much more fun. Way more fun. Way cooler. And just awesome. So there you go. That's why I have the thumbnail of this video. John McClane just capping a bloody Brad X in the head. So anyway, let's colour in this dinosaur. Let's get painting. How long have I been streaming for? How long has it been going? 30 minutes and I haven't even done anything. Right, okay. So we're drawing the male Megalosaurus looking up in confusion. That's what we're drawing. And it should be quite easy to do because it's quite close and big. So it's just trying to get it done as quickly as possible. Robert verse headcanon. Stupid Dinosaur says, the people in Die Hard breathe air. You know who else breathes air? The characters in Jurassic. Boom, case closed. Siaka says, a beautiful season. I've never been nostalgia pandered so hard. Well, you enjoy it, man. You enjoy it. I'm never watching it ever again. It's just one of those things where it's like Camp Cretaceous being canon. I'm like, it is now not out of the realm of possibility to have a movie in the future where like you see, I don't know, Grant or Malcolm or even hell, Roland Tembo, if they recast him, being escorted around by a Brad X. Right? Could you imagine a Brad X walking around with like Malcolm? It'd just be the most fucking stupidest thing ever. It's one way you can destroy your franchise is to do stuff like Camp Cretaceous Season 4. Or Camp Cretaceous in general. And I like... We're at the... we're in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith in terms of where we are in... If you compare it to Star Wars, right? We're in between Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, because between that, I know there was like other Star Wars cartoons and all that sort of stuff, but between those two movies back in the day came the Clone Wars, right? First two series, the 2D animated one, really, really good, yeah? A bit crazy at times compared to what you see in the movies, but a lot of people went, yeah, they connect, right? And you saw how you learnt where General Grievous came from and all that sort of stuff that happened in that show, not in the movies. And then there was the Clone Wars series came out, and I remember being like a fan of Star Wars back then. When Revenge of the Sith was coming out, I was really big into it. And Clone Wars kind of killed it for me. It was like, ugh, like, because there was so much lore being added, like so much, to the point where it was like unbearable. And it wasn't just like cool lore, it was like stupid lore, to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm out. Darth Maul's alive? No, don't give a shit. I'm out. And it's like, it's just messing with what you know too much. A lack of decent, good ideas. You know, as someone who's worked on the Jurassic canon, I'm all for expanding it. It's just the potential they could do. Because, like, okay, so a huge, great generation of Jurassic fans make up a massive proportion of this fan base, right? Obviously, kids do as well, and that's who Camp Cretaceous are catered for. That's what the Lego series is catered for. Where's the expanded story for the fan like me, which isn't written by myself, Tim, or you know, for the viral marketing? So where is that? Because there's so much stuff they could do that would be really popular, really innovative, really interesting, really out of left field, and make it different from other big franchises out there. There's so many freaking ideas bubbling around in my head that I'm like, oh my god, if they just... I don't know. But it seems to be it's going the way where, like, the movies, luckily for those of you out there, you know I've seen a certain movie, and I'm very happy with it. So there is salvation on the horizon, in my opinion. But beyond that, if it's going to be Brad X's and I'm like, this isn't Jurassic. I'm out. Red Hood says, Clone Wars is a good example of an animated show that is canon and doesn't break canon. You're talking to the wrong guy. Darth Maul died. He's dead. He got cut in half and thrown down a bottomless pit. He's dead. I don't care how much they say he's alive and it's canon. He's dead. Gone. Gone. And that's like, and that's the thing, like, it sounds, I don't know. What's the word I'm looking for? Fanboy? I don't know if it's the right word, but like, Universal can say Camp Cretaceous is canon as much as they like. It just can't go through the barrier of my mind and enter that world. It's gone. It's baby stuff. Big Shack says no one's ever really gone, Jack. Yeah. Don't even get me started on those movies. Red Hood says, years from now, we're going to ask ourselves, where were you when the Brad X's took over the world? Well, this is the... Siaka says, I guess this means someone else got to insist to know a JP game is canon until CC bases its season off it. JP4 on mobile, perhaps? No, because that's actually a good game. Actually, yeah, let's see Grant and Malcolm run around with AK-47s gunning down agents. Ugh. I love that they were like, we're going to take the series into interesting new places. And it's like, you just ripped off Scan Command. Like, there's nothing new about it. Fans have known about it for ages. And I think what I'm dealing with is kind of like the stages of grief here. And I don't really know which stage I'm on, so you guys in the chat will have to tell me. But like, I think what really annoys me more than anything about Camp Cretaceous being canon is that as someone who loves the canon with the movies and stuff, it's like now every time I have a conversation with anyone about the canon, there's going to be those frickin' Bradexes and the robots and Manticore and that god-awful character Cash and all that sort of stuff. It's like, I remember slating Jurassic Park the game being canon. At the time, I was like, this isn't canon. Like, this is not. And it still isn't. But at the same time, oh my god, what I would give for Camp Cretaceous to even be half of what Jurassic Park the game is like in terms of its characters and what it tells. Like, oh, we were so lucky with that. As flawed as that game is, oh my god. I would take a no mustache Jerry Harding over Darius any day of the week. Ugh. Oh, and by the way, just to add a note here, the the Camp Cretaceous season 4, like all the dinosaurs are female, right? That's what they said. They said the two T-Rexes that we see, mother and daughter, which I'm completely fine with. Because everyone was like, oh, it's a green T-Rex. Like, it didn't look green. It looked grey. It was a grey and brown one. It didn't look green at all. And they had like these tiger stripes on them. They looked different. But does that mean that the bull T-Rex, because they said they were taken from Mesosaurus, does this mean the bull T-Rex did actually die in Jurassic Park 3? Have I been right all the time? Okay, that's the first one. We're trying to get to like this. Skinny Devil Lord, hey dude, he says, Season 3 literally contradicts the scene between Wu and Masrani in Jurassic World. This being canon makes one of the best scenes pointless, so no, definitely not canon for me. Ooh, I can put a poll, can't I? Okay, I've put a question in the chat saying, do you consider CC canon? Yes or no? It's like a poll. I'll be interested to see what you guys put. I'm just gonna leave it there for the whole stream, and we'll see where we end up. If it can remain on the whole stream. I've never done one of these before, so. So we're trying to get... This isn't the finished This isn't the finished one, but you know what? I might actually try and no. Let's put that down like this. There we go. Ethan's like, am I the only one here who considers CC canon and is fine with how season 4 went? Looks like you brought a knife to a gunfight, son. You're in the wrong neighborhood. I'm kidding. I don't think you are. Right. Whenever I start doing the animations on this guy, it's like, it always seems to start kind of confusing, and then eventually I get it. Hot Creamy Fat says the kids were starving to death on a beach, and CC season 3 and 4 are still are all a fever dream. So season 2 wasn't. Season 1 wasn't. Thing is, if they did like end it on like a cop out thing, like, oh, it was all a dream. Kind of thing, that would piss me off even more. Do you know why? Because it'd be like, what an absolute waste all round. Waste for people who considered it canon, and a waste of canon. Essentially, it's like, but if that was the case, obviously part of me would be like, but it's like, no, they're not doing that. There's too much money in it. People just eat it up, so of course they're going to keep making it. Like, I legitimately won't be surprised now if they bring a dragon out. Like an actual fire-breathing dragon into the next season. Like, I'm not even joking when I say that. Like, it wouldn't surprise me anymore. You just had sentient robots that can think for themselves. Trike7117 says, I mainly question how they expected us to go along with robots being a thing, since they really don't fit. Then they're really not a fit for this franchise. The closest thing I could think to what we got robot-wise in the movies is that arm that, you know, grabs the egg off Grant and puts it down. It's like, that's the closest we got to that kind of thing. And I'm assuming that's what they were like rolling off of. They were like, yeah, that happened in Jurassic Park, so we can think, oh, well, how would robotics have evolved in that universe? And they've gone to like Brad X's. And I feel so bad for Brad Jost at the Jurassic Park podcast, because it's like, he must be, I mean, I'm assuming, he might not, he might be more strong-willed than I would if I was in his position, but he must be like, why did they have to call them Brads? Like, oh, poor boy. I think he's older than me, so maybe I should say poor man. Siaka says, you joke season 5 might get to be Chaos Effect. What are you talking about? It was already there with those Spinoceratop things. Like, think of this, right? Imagine we hadn't seen season 4 yet, right? Imagine we haven't heard of Camp Cretaceous yet at all, right? Go back to, I don't know, Jurassic World had just come out, right? And you say, in the future, I can't, like, you come from this time and you go back to 2015, Jurassic World's out, it's a huge hit, everyone's like on a Jurassic high, yeah. And you go up to every fan, you put a little note out there to every fan, and you go, hey, guess what? In 2021, we're going to have an animated series, and guess what's going to be in it? A hybrid of a Spinosaurus. And I bet everyone's mind would go to something cool. Not some stupid little baby, like a thing they want to sell toys at because they want to make a lot of money, because Baby Yoda sold loads, and Baby Groot and Baby... I don't think Baby Blue sold that well, but they tried with that. But at least Baby Blue was like... I don't want to make excuses, but it was like just on a screen. It was video recordings, and they didn't really do much with it. But like you think, like you go back in time, you say to people, guess what? The Spinosaurus is going to come back in Jurassic Canon. It will be back, the one from Jurassic Park 3. Oh, I bet you're so excited. I bet what your mind's going to Isla Sorna. Your mind's going to, like, even if it's not an Isla Sorna, like this thing's going to be... there's going to be a great storyline around this thing, and then you're like, no. You're going to be watching the Spinosaurus eating a saber-toothed tiger, and there's a robot there, like a Terminator, like a big black Terminator robot next to it. No one would be like, what? They'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? And it's like that, and it's going to be canon, like it's going to be canon to the movies. What have they done? So much potential just washed down the drain without a care in the world. Yeah, they did gloss over the saber-toothed tiger trike. Didn't really explain it or anything. Oh, someone might need to go back and watch this for me. The compy that's on the boat with them, I swear that the compy changes colours. Like there's a bit where it gets up on a rock after they just land on the island, and it like roars, and it's daytime, and you can see that its throat's red and it's green, and then it comes out of a doorway into the forest not long after that, into the redwood area. It might even be the beginning of the next episode, and it looks blue and yellow. Like, and I was sitting there, I didn't go back and watch it because I couldn't be bothered, but I was like, I swear that compy just changed colour. I swear they just forgot which compy asset they were using between episodes. I could be completely wrong about that. But yeah, you know, honestly, this is the acceptance phase of grief. I think I'm about to hit now. I think Camp Cretaceous is like signaling the beginning of the end for me and my obsession with Jurassic, because once Dominion's out, I don't really see the need to go any further than that, really. So it might be one of those things where it's like I just don't really talk about it as much as I used to. That's the way of saying it. Like, if they made something really kick-ass for kids and the people who like the movies and that, then yeah, of course, I'd probably be sticking around. I'd be like, oh, this is great. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's like, well, at least it's something that you know, I would consider worthy of my time. But Camp Cretaceous is signaling, if it's like this is what they want to be canon, and this is what the future of this franchise is going to look like, I am out. I'm gone. You're just going to see like a ghost-shaped Jack go, and then I just fizzle out into nothing because I just ran away so fast. Jurassic Production says the Jurassic franchise is failing. It's not, though. That's the thing. It's not failing. It's a victim of its own success, right? Kids, anything for children sells, right? So everything outside the movies is just selling towards kids, right? Which partly I don't blame them, right? But the problem I have with it is the quality of this stuff is just not there, and they could be doing so much more with it. And then they're also completely ignoring the older demographic. Now, I will give them credit for the Jurassic Park visual history book. That's perfectly tailored towards the older fan. However, that's all about production. I'm talking about like stories, like expanding the universe story-wise. It's like they're just completely ignoring us, and it's like, then why would I stick around? Why would I stick around? Redhead says, Trevorrow, you are any hope? Yeah, in some ways, no in others. You know, he watched Camp Cretaceous and was approving all that sort of thing. He didn't care about it. He went, yeah, that'll do. It's like, ugh. I bet if anyone actually asked Colin, and I don't know if Colin will actually see this, but it's like, if someone asked Colin, do you consider Camp Cretaceous soft canon? I wonder what he genuinely would think. I wonder if when he watches Dominion, whether he actually thinks the events of Camp Cretaceous took place in the universe that he built in his head, or whether he considers it soft canon, i.e. not canon. Because he kind of, by default, has to say yes publicly, but I bet on the inside there's no Brad X's in his universe. Trike says, no offense, but if Trevorrow gave us Fallen Kingdom, I don't have any hope of him doing anything. Bayona gave you Fallen Kingdom. Bayona gave you Fallen Kingdom. Trevorrow wrote the movie, he produced it, but he let a lot of the creative decision fall into Bayona's hands. So if there's if you want to aim your guns at someone for Fallen Kingdom, it's Bayona, really, as far as we can tell. Redhead says, I don't mind soft canon, since there's more a pick and choose of what you want to be canon, but official canon is a no-no for me. Well, that's headcanon. Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's like if you pick and choose. That's why I have Die Hard in my headcanon now. God, it's so good. Die Hard is so freaking good. A great Jurassic story. Trike says, overall, what's your thoughts on the Dominion prologue? Personally, I can't say I'm all that excited after seeing it. Boo! I loved it. It's awesome. Big Shark says, poor Jack finally getting the Jurassic fatigue. I felt it for a while, but it's like, you hold out hope. Like, I knew the Spinosaurus was coming back in Camp Cretaceous, right? So I was like, I'm excited to see what they do with this dinosaur. Are they going to explain some of its history? Are they going to reference the DPG? Are they going to do anything like that? Like, no. You know, it's just on some random island in the middle of nowhere. This random island right next to, in drone distance of Nublar, which I'm assuming they're saying that this technology is so advanced that this drone can fly insane number of miles, right? That's what I'm assuming, because if not, there's this island right next to Nublar that no one knew about. It's like, come on. Come on. Yeah, I felt the fatigue for a while. It's just like I was holding out hope, because I thought, hey, I didn't like the first 3 seasons of Camp Cretaceous, but maybe season 4 will be more interesting. But a fool I was. It was the worst. Not even the worst, because it kind of felt the same as all the others, really, to me. Siak says, even if that were the case, an island with that many animals and technology would be a recognizable heat source, probably have emissions and radio waves too, right? Yeah, exactly. And people would see the planes dropping off the food, as they said. It's just ridiculous. It's like I can hear people, and I know it's like arguing with myself, but I can hear people in my head being like, hey man, it's just a cartoon. It's like, yes, but it's meant to be canon. That's the point, right? It can still be a cartoon, still be fun, and still adhere to canon. There's no like, it's not like there's no force stopping them, except themselves. Amber Production says, my little sister is losing interest in Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. She said, what are the odds they end up on another island with dinosaurs? This is stupid. I burst out laughing. Yeah. I mean, my little nephew, who was Jurassic obsessed, lost interest after Camp Cretaceous, well, season 1. He watched season 2 and he hasn't really talked about it since. It's like he doesn't really care. He's obsessed at the moment with watching the Gaming Beaver play Evolution 2. That's his jam at the moment. But Camp Cretaceous, he doesn't give a shit about. And it's like he's technically, being 7 years old, he is the target demographic. But he don't give a crap. And bear in mind, he's a target demographic who's already Jurassic obsessed. Keep in mind. He doesn't care. Redhead says my little brother didn't like the season as well. Oof. Yeah. The thing I hear, and obviously kids online. I'm not in every circle, so I don't know. And obviously, lots of kids. I wouldn't be hanging around kids' circles anyway online. But I only ever hear like teenagers and adults talking about Camp Cretaceous. I don't hear much of the demographic that it's aimed towards. And when I do, it's usually people saying, yeah, they're not really into it. So I have no example that I know of to draw from of a kid being obsessed with it. Jurassic Hero said, I told you kids are not stupid. No, they're not. That's the thing. They're not stupid, but they act like they are when they watch this show. Like the makers of the show. They're like, yeah, don't worry about it. Kids won't care. And it's like, yeah, they will. And that's the thing is, right? Here's another thing about Camp Cretaceous, right? Everyone, whenever they make a new movie or anything, they always talk about this, right? This is for a new generation. This is going to be someone's first Jurassic. Imagine Camp Cretaceous season 4 being the first thing Jurassic you come in contact with. So the first thing your little eyes glaze on is Brad X. Stupid robotic smile with those completely unnecessary teeth. And Cash. Ugh. So the reason why, and maybe I don't know if this what I'm about to say needs to be clipped and sent to the bigwigs, but I'll say this, right? The reason Jurassic Park was successful, why it has fans like myself out there, was because it was a cultural milestone of a movie event, right? It was these brand new effects that wowed everyone. It wasn't just, there was no such thing as a Jurassic Park fan at the time outside of fans of the novel. It came along, it had these insane effects that blew everyone away, and it became this huge thing because of it. It also helped that the movie was fun in itself, and it had likable characters and all this sort of stuff that have lingered over the years. That's why they're able to sell that the big three are coming back, you know. Then you had the sequels and and it got hugely franchised, okay? So obviously there's going to be new generations coming in, like their first film was The Lost World and all that sort of stuff. But even with The Lost World and even with Jurassic Park 3, this was still a relatively new thing, right? Now, not so much. Like, if someone's first entrance into the Jurassic Park franchise is Camp Cretaceous Season 4, I'm starting to doubt whether they're going to be around for much longer. Because, like, how much interest are they going to have in this franchise if it doesn't have those moments, that lightning in a bottle moment? And obviously, catching lightning in a bottle is virtually impossible, right? It's a kind of a miracle that they even managed to do the success with Jurassic World at the time, when that came out. And we're never going to have the combination of ILM's innovative effects, like we saw with the original park, coupled with Stan Winston's animatronics. You're never going to get that ever again. It's gone. It's gone, right? I see a lot of fans, wanting to see animatronics back and all this sort of stuff, just for one example. And it's like, Stan Winston's gone. The studio is divided up. It's like, it's not the same thing as it used to be. And no one is filling its shoes in the same way, because they all have their own different style and have their own look to their creatures. Now, you're never going to emulate what Stan Winston's team did. So that one example is like, asking for them to repeat that kind of thing again is a pointless exercise, because it's just not going to happen. And capturing that fan base obsession, which will last decades, like it's done with my generation and all that, with Jurassic, I don't think that's going to happen again either. I think that's why I say it's like, it feels like it's the beginning of the end, because I feel like as people grow up, they just lose it. And yeah, it's like, and a good example of this, right? And I know I made it, so it might sound a little bit biased here, but the thumbnail of this video, for people who don't follow Jurassic that closely, no one, except for the title, right? No one in their right mind would even know that this video, just looking at the thumbnail alone, would know it has anything to do with Jurassic Park. They wouldn't know that robot is to do with Jurassic Park. It's just this Brad X thing. It's like, no one would think that is anything to do with Jurassic Park. So I feel like it's a kind of a lost cause. You're continuing the world, but it's like, I don't know, it felt like you're doing robots to try and grab people's attention more. And you certainly grab people's attention, but I don't think it's going to be necessarily for the right reasons. Because Jurassic Park is about dinosaurs. And the show kind of left them hanging. They weren't really the aspect of the show. They weren't the focus. And it's like, There's ways of focusing on the dinosaurs that are new and innovative, but they just didn't go for it. So Siaka says, yeah, exactly. So basically, setting an image of Terra Nova next to the image of Camp Cretaceous and ask which one is Jurassic, you'll definitely confuse people. Exactly. It's like losing its image, losing what it was. It's fading away. Like I said, there is hope to next year. There is hope with Dominion. I firmly believe that is a great end. So there is salvation at the end, but afterwards it's looking more and more like I'll be making different videos on this channel, because it's like, what's the point in making videos when as soon as I start talking about something, someone's going to bring up a Brad X. And I know now it's going to, like, I'm basically sending a fishing line out to all the trolls out there. I said, if I talk about anything, they'll talk about Brad X. It's like, I don't care if people talk about Brad X's, honestly. It's just one of those things where it's like, just knowing that that's now canon. It's like, ugh. King Venomzilla says, I heard there's supposed to be more Jurassic World stuff after Dominion. Well, yeah, they've talked about it, and it's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like they're planning on other stuff. It's like, okay, well, if Brad X's are your jam, and robots, and and TikTok influencers as characters, I'm out. It's just not. It's not what I thought this franchise was about. I thought it was about scientists and dinosaurs and people studying these things and chaos. Jurassic Hero says, I can't wait for the live-action Jurassic World series. I hope it's going to be better. Dude, they're never going to make that. I don't think that's ever going to happen. You know why? Because it would be insanely expensive to make a Jurassic World live-action series. Because people want to see dinosaurs. And it's like... And they'd want the dinosaurs to look as good as what they do in the movies. And I don't think they're ever gonna make that. And I only say that because I'm just so fatigued from like all of the expanded media outside of the movies. Oh my god, I've barely done anything. I've been chatting away. Right, let's do some speed painting. Yeah, I loved when the dinosaurs were crapping the crap out of capitalism. Here we go. Got it in the end. Realised I should put the teeth on, really. I'll say this, I only know one thing about Camp Cretaceous Season 5. And I thought it was going to happen in this season, but it didn't. So I was like, interesting. Actually, no, tell a lie. Two things I know about Season 5. So we will we'll have to wait and see. One of them, I think, will... it's definitely going to cause some ripples. Definitely going to cause some ripples. It's funny, the poll at the moment, we've had 36 votes. And it is currently 53% no, 47% yes. Oof. Siaka said, Jack, watching you get hyped for this, how crazy this season was going to be, was a treat. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I was genuinely hyped to see Season 4 just because of how batshit insane it was. I was like, I'm willing, like I said, if it wasn't considered canon, I'd be having a lot more fun with it. The fact that they're trying to get me to believe, not just me specifically, you know, but like, Jack, you must watch this show. But no, like you watch it and you're like, me, the audience member watching it, knowing that it's meant to be canon, I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? And but I was hyped because I knew it would just be insane. Like I said, I already don't consider it canon, so like that's already out the window. I just wanted to watch the absolute stupidness of it, and it was above and beyond the stupid. Yeah, Mitesh Mystery just pointed out something. The different weather's technology is too advanced for Jurassic. Yeah, exactly. Like, let alone these screens that project the weather. Like, actually having the weather perfectly emulated in each of these biodomes. It's just like, what? Perfect snow, perfect desert. Perfect jungles where redwoods can grow happily. Big Show says, weird, Clayton hasn't made a video of season 4. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he's working on it. There's a lot to process. Clayton likes to use his words wisely, so I don't think he's just going to make something like this where it's off the cuff and I'm just thinking freely and I could mess up and stuff. I think Clayton wants to be very particular with his words. And I don't think I fully... he did rank it, though, on his Instagram. Did you guys see that? He did do the ranking on his Instagram. What did he have it as, again? It's not on there anymore. I wonder if it's... No. He, Oh, wait, no. Was it here? I know he ranked it really low. Big Show says, I wonder how many people are actually genuine with their answer. Well, I'll tell you this. I don't care as long as the no wins. Vote for me. Vote for the no. Make Jurassic Canon great again. Camp Cretaceous fake news. Redhead says, I'm honestly expecting to see a Terminated Gigantosaurus or Giganotosaurus in Dominion now. You say that. It could happen. It could happen. In the canon of Jurassic. It's not out of the realms of possibility. Build a wall around season 4. A great big wall. The biggest wall, the best wall. Everyone says that it's the best wall around season 4. It's so funny to say that now. Things like it could happen. Thanks to Camp Cretaceous being canon, now you could legitimately have a cyborg dinosaur in this series. Like a genuine, like, think the episode of the Godzilla animated series from '98 where they brought back the 1998 Godzilla as a cyborg. They brought it back from the dead. That's Camp Cretaceous' technology. That's where it's at. Ugh. Yeah, you could have a Mecha Rexy. Yeah. Literally, there's nothing saying against it now in the canon because of Camp Cretaceous. Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Siaka, we're going to have such a blast with this. Coming from two different sides. Me, who's just fatigued by it all, but just want to take the piss, but also take the piss using reality. And you, someone who just loves it. Just hand in hand. Siaka says, in SC there is a subplot where ancient sauna... Oh, in Scan Command, there's a subplot where ancient Sauna people worship Spinos, Rex, and Terrors as gods. Wonder if they would dare touch that. Honestly, they could. That makes no sense considering InGen cloned the dinosaurs. What the hell? Reddit says the railgun can happen finally. No guns. No guns. It's a kid show. Can't have cool things. It's a kid show. Yeah, regular show might have guns, but Cam Cretaceous doesn't. Big Shark says, I think Jurassic is dead to me now. I'll be starting your Dino-Defenders Extreme fandom now. Thank you. Oh, I can't wait. This episode 4, right, of Dino-Defenders. I didn't realise how many extra frames I needed for this. Like, we're coming up to 200 frames in this episode. And bear in mind, the most I made was for episode 3 or episode 2, and it was around the 140 mark, like 140 frames. This episode is 200. Now, granted, there's a lot of short, quick ones in there, but I don't know how long this episode's going to be. I think it'll probably be around 30 minutes. But there's just extra frames. I'm just thinking of new ones. I'm like, oh, I need to add that in. That needs to be a frame. So, yeah. The frame I'm working on right now, I've actually storyboarded. Like, the whole fight sequence I'm working on right now is all storyboarded, so I'll be ticking this one off when it's done. Ooh. You know what? Legendary says, I wonder if Season 5 will actually introduce dinosaur-human hybrids like the Jurassic Park 4 concepts. Might do. Why not? Doesn't seem out of place anymore. The thing is, though, I say that in my video where I talked about how crazy can Jurassic Park get, I did mention how dinosaur-human hybrids could work in the series, even the movie series, under the right context, because like I've always said in the past, context is key. You can have the most outlandish idea, but if you can use context to make it fit the world you're trying to bring it into. When you say robots in Jurassic, I'm thinking that little robot arm in Jurassic Park, right? Or in the future, a Boston Dynamics robot that's kind of crap and like falls over and doesn't think for itself like they do in this show, and don't have like commands, don't say their commands out loud. Unidentified organism. Like no. There's a way of doing robots in this series that would actually fit the pre-established world that it's set in and not seem stupid. Like, for example, the drones, right? I had no issue with the drones. If they had drones doing those invisible wall things, like they were saying, that works. We know about drones. There's a tangible... They did the invisible fences in Jurassic World with the chips and the dinosaurs. There's ways of doing it, right? That makes it more believable. When you bring up the Brad X's and the robot dogs that are just acting like they're real animals that are alive and thinking for themselves and all that sort of stuff, it's like the context is not selling me here completely. Gary Pfeiffer asks, have your line writers been writing for the characters? I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, the drones and the chips made sense. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's ways of doing like robots and that in the show that could have worked, but... I'm gonna go grab another beer, and then I will be back. 1 second. Ooh, the poll's on 50-50 at 40 votes. So 20 people have voted yes and 20 people have voted no. Cam Cretaceous is the last Jedi of the Jurassic franchise. That's right. That's right. I said it. Hot take, as the kids call it. A hot take right here. Do the characters have written lines yet? Yeah, I've written a fair bit of the dialogue for episode 4 and have been editing the episode I'm about halfway through, but what I've done is I've taken a pause because I actually want to finish the frames before I finish. But it's mainly because there's been new frames added during scenes where I'm doing the dialogue, so I wanted to pause and work out what frames I actually needed in total before I continue. Ben Smith says, so are the first 3 seasons canon and the 4th isn't, or none of them canon, which is what I want? Well, I'm with you. I've never considered Camp Cretaceous canon. I don't want any of it to be canon, but so many people out there enjoy it, they'll buy it, and they'll eat it up, and Universal will be like, yeah, that's fine. We'll add more Brad X's, which is what they did in the last episode. So many Brad X's walk out that bush. Like, just think the return of the Dilophosaurus, right? Something that the fans have been talking about for years. Oh, when are we next going to see the Dilophosaurus in a live action or a film or a cartoon show or something canon? Like, when are we going to see the Dilophosaurus back in canon? And we get it, not without all these robots walking out of the mist behind it. It's like, why'd they have to go and ruin it? Like, Jesus. It bothered me a bit, Spinimus, that the Spinosaurus didn't sound like the Spinosaurus, but then again, this is Camp Cretaceous, like, nothing ever looks right, or sounds right. Like, Blues doesn't look right, Main Street doesn't look right, the park doesn't look right, the characters don't look right, the robots don't look right, it's all, the villains don't look right. It's all a load of forgettable, binnable trash made for babies. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's made for babies. Like, after this season of Camp Cretaceous, I could see it less with the other 3, but with this season and how crazy it's gone, I don't see the difference between the Lego Jurassic World movies and this. Right? I just don't see the difference, because like in the Lego one they're like, oh, Nedry's cousin's in it, or Nedry, and it's like, and people are like, oh, that can't be canon. It's like, they could in Camp Cretaceous now. I wouldn't be surprised if Nedry's cousin came waltzing into frame in one of these episodes. It's all one and the same. The target demographic for Camp Cretaceous is the same as the Lego films. I know I just drew all that, but I actually want to bring that down a little bit more. Mitesh says they used boring Jurassic Raptor skins, RIP Tiger Raptors and JP Free Raptors. Firstly, technically, the JP Free Raptors are the Tiger Raptors because the film production talks about how they evolved on the island. Like they kept breeding and they got the Raptors from JP Free within 4 years apparently. But putting that aside, would you really want to see those Raptors in Camp Cretaceous be the Tiger or the Jurassic Park free ones? Because what did they do with those Raptors? Bugger all. Just kept them behind a load of drones. Spenham says, I don't know why Universal loathes Sauna so much, just give us the JP3 Raptors back. They loathe Sauna because it wasn't a moneymaker. Sauna was a net loss for Universal. That's why. They want to make money off this franchise, they don't want to tank it. That's the thing. So... no Sauna. That's why. Siaka says, this is also a pretty odd way to have it revealed that Blue isn't the last Raptor. The whole show, especially coming from you, I thought you'd be eating it up. But no, like, honestly, there's so many things this season does that the fans have been asking for so long. We want to see wild raptors again. We want to see the Dilophosaurus. We want to see the Spinosaurus. We want to know what happened to Sauna. All this sort of stuff answers all that in such a lame ass way that I can't believe it's being like oh yeah, this works. It's like ugh. The force fields, says Big Shark. I thought the dinosaurs had chips in them, so if they go near where the drones are putting down this, like, I don't know, where the signal, if they cross over the signal they get a shock, right? Isn't that it? Or was it legitimately force fields? Spenimus, no one knew other raptors were alive, that's why. Camilosaur says, yeah, this season felt ABC's Lost with JP dinosaurs. It's taken me too long to do this. Spenimus says, I keep seeing the argument that Jurassic Park is sci-fi, so robots are perfectly fine. Anything can go with sci-fi. I think it's time for Alien versus Jurassic Park, and robots are aren't far enough. Well, the thing is, it's not just... Robots can fit Jurassic, right? Because, like, science fiction, yeah, okay, they can have robots in it. But, like, you might not have been here for earlier in the stream, but I was saying that almost anything can fit. It's all about context. If the context is okay and believable, then fine. Robots in the Jurassic series work if they're like minimal, if their functionality is believable. So for example, in the first Jurassic Park film, I mentioned it a minute ago, the first Jurassic Park film had that robot arm working on the eggs that they were looking at, and you know, Grant picks up one of the eggs and looks at it, and the robot senses that the egg is out of the nest, so it takes the egg off Grant and puts it back and then shuts down, and Grant's like looking at it like, oh. So like, you can have robots in this series. It's just if they're done in such a way that you believe that their functionality can work within that universe, and they're not the focus. Like like in this series of Camp Cretaceous, the Brads are... It's a series about robots. It's not a series about dinosaurs. Like, I know some people have brought it up before, but like if you watch that episode of Black Mirror with the killer robot that's the Boston Dynamics robot, it's like, I wouldn't want one to be like a killer like that, like killer robots, but like, seeing something like that walking around delivering something in an office on some like island facility, it's like, fair enough. If they like walk through the office of Manticore and walking along the corridors of these like Boston Dynamic robots delivering mail from one room to the other, or like paperwork and that, it's fine. But don't do the attack of the clones thing where it's like, robots building robots, my god. Like, don't do that sort of thing. Don't do guard dog, giant eel headed robot things. Don't call them Brads. Think of a cool name. Sorry, Brad, if you're watching this. Like, your name is cool for a human, not for a robot. Ethan Doyle says, what are you drawing? I'm drawing a Megalosaurus for my animated series, Dino-Defenders Extreme. Speaking of robots, I'm actually working on a robot versus dinosaur fight for my cartoon series. I'll show you a clip. I'll show you a little scene, a bit of a build-up to the fight. Check this out. This is what I'm working on right now. Look at this. Speaking of robots and dinosaurs, yeah. The thing is, though, this isn't an established franchise, so this is my thing. So it can have robots from the beginning. Yeah. And that's not really a robot, it's a mech. Someone's piloting it. Watch it one more time. Yeah. How long until the next episode? When it's done. I said December in my trailer, but it's not going to be December. There's so much to do for it still. And plus, with the holidays, it's like I'm going to be busy seeing family and all that sort of stuff, so it's not going to be as much time for me this month to work on it. But I'll try as quick as I can. As quick as I can to get this out. But I want it to be right. I don't want to just rush it out. I want it to be as good as I can get it. Carlin Taurus says, this season answered some questions but left me with more questions than I started with. You know, it left me with one question actually, which was, why did I even bother watching it? Why do I torture myself? So this is the thing. Jurassic Jaws says, I mean, Camp Cretaceous seasons 1 and 3 were pretty good, but when season 4 started introducing all this crazy new stuff, I just lost all hope with CC. Yeah, well, you're preaching to the choir because I've never enjoyed Camp Cretaceous, but again, it's not aimed at me. I'm not the target demographic. It's aimed at little kids. But again, it is kind of aimed at me, someone like me, because they're saying it's canon. So as someone who loves the Jurassic canon, I'm going to watch it to find out what they're saying is happening in the universe that I've been obsessed with for years. And Camp Cretaceous, I've never considered it canon. It's just been awful from the beginning. Such a disconnect. Connor Poole says, I enjoyed Camp Cretaceous, but I recognise that it's crap, not meant to be taken seriously. Spenimus says, I really want Jurassic World Dominion to be the end of Jurassic. I think it needs another 14-year break. Hot take. I really hope Jurassic World 4 rumours are BS. I'm right there with you. What are you sipping on there? It's called Brooklyn Lager. It's just a cheap lager. Right, let's get this. Ooh, need to do the little bumpily bumps. Oh, look at that. There's a big old slice in its neck. Oh dear. Oh, and I'm also forgetting that it's meant to have a... slice in its face. Camalosaurus says, what are your thoughts on seeing the Spinosaurus make a return? Outside of the noises of the Spinosaurus, I think it wasn't too badly affected. I know it didn't have the right colours and didn't sound the same, but at the same time, it was Camp Cretaceous, so like no surprise there. But it didn't look or act the same, or didn't look or sound the same, because they don't really do that anyway with any of the other dinosaurs. That said, it was nice to see it was alive, so at least, considering it's canon, you know, all these people who moan about the DPG saying, oh, they killed Sauna, it's like, no, we didn't. We never did. Never did. You know, you've got your confirmation. But, for me, it's a shame that it's packaged in a story that is just, like, you've got the Spinosaurus making its return, but there's this robot stood next to the characters, or like this thing. It's like, what is this? It's like when you read those old Jurassic Park comic books, and like Ludlow is alive, like Ludlow comes back from the dead, or Muldoon is alive, and you're like, what am I reading? Camp Cretaceous just seems like that now. Or always has been to me, but like even more so now. It's like they might as well bring back Ludlow in a wheelchair all scarred up. I like that comic book. Forget the name of it now. Was it Redemption? Something like that? It's so funny to think that, like, I haven't seen it, but the Jurassic World Live tour, like, they've got this thing that, as far as I can tell, the Jurassic World Live tour looks like it fits into the canon really nicely, okay? And you're following these scientists on Nublar or whatever, right? And they quickly take it off island so then it can go do its own thing. And as far as I can tell, I haven't heard anyone talk about anything crazy in it, like robots or anything like that. But it's funny how that's considered soft canon, but Camp Cretaceous is something that they're saying is hard canon, but it looks like a show that was written to be soft canon. Like, it acts like a show that is written by people who were making a comic book, not worrying about the canon that they're the world that they're writing about. Spenema says, I don't know about Die Hard being canon to Jurassic Park, but Face Off is in with InGen Crate in it, and even has Billy. Ah, no, see, it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Face Off is not in the canon. You weren't here for my explanation of my headcanon, why I consider Die Hard 1, only Die Hard 1, not all the other Die Hards, just Die Hard 1 in the canon of Jurassic Park. Maybe I need to explain it again for all the newbies who have just arrived. So by extension, is Die Hard in the same canon as Twister? Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Honestly, and this is great timing as well, because like, we're now entering the Christmas season, so lots of people are going to be watching Die Hard. So if you watch Die Hard, I'm going to go through it again for those of you who missed it. Okay. I'm going to read my notes that I wrote during watching Die Hard last night. So in the Jurassic Park novel, the investors of the park are Japanese. In the movie Jurassic Park, we're not told who they are, but it is safe to assume that they remain Japanese. These investors are represented by Gennaro in the movie, because there's that line, "Your investors who I represent are deeply concerned, and in 48 hours from now, if they're not convinced, I'm not convinced. We'll shut it down, John." Right? So we're imagining they remain Japanese like they are in the novel. We're not told in the Jurassic Park canon any more about these investors, so we're safe to assume they're still Japanese. John McClane in Die Hard, he has a wife who's in the movie, very predominant character, called Holly McClane. She works for a Japanese company called the Nakatomi Corporation, and her maiden name is Gennaro. So imagine that Holly and Donald Gennaro are brother and sister who work for the Nakatomi Corporation. She works in LA and Donald Gennaro is their lawyer. Now, two little fun thought experiments here. Perhaps the reason the Nakatomi Corporation invested in InGen was because they needed a huge boost in funding to make up for the losses of the 1988 terrorist incident, which we see in Die Hard. Or, more likely, this is the one I'm going with, or perhaps the reason they were deeply concerned, as Gennaro puts it, is because they don't want any more blood against their company name, because a lot of people know their company for the 1988 terrorist incident. What also makes this work is no actors overlap the Jurassic movies. So you don't see any actors playing someone else like you do with the guy who plays Billy in Face Off, which in my little rules in my head disconnect Face Off, and plus I wouldn't want Face Off in the canon anyway. It's too weird, too stupid. And also tonally, outside of the swearing really, Die Hard fits Jurassic. Feels very, like the acting's all very similar, and the way the characters talk and stuff, and the mood, all very much the same. Yeah, there you go. Now for those of you who might look this up and see that Holly Gennaro in Die Hard, she has two spellings of the name, Gennaro and Gennaro, one with an A, one with an E, whereas in Jurassic Park, Donald Gennaro is with an A, but she is credited as Holly Gennaro, so the same name. So Die Hard is a movie about the investors of InGen, one of the investors of InGen, who Donald Gennaro represents, and their struggles with some terrorists in their buildings. There you go. That's why I think Camp Cretaceous is less canon than Die Hard. Die Hard works much better. Plus Die Hard's shorter. It's not 220 minutes, which is what season 4 is lengthwise. And it's also awesome. So when you sit down to watch Die Hard this Christmas, which a lot of you will because it's the season, just keep that in mind. Just imagine this is happening in 1988. This is happening 4 years before the events of Jurassic Park in LA at the Nakatomi Corporation, Nakatomi Plaza. And this is the same company that would later go on, or has already secretly invested in John Hammond's little experiment off the coast of Costa Rica. Also, to add to that, as I mentioned previously, to people who have been watching in the beginning have heard this already, the Nakatomi Plaza building has lots of technology in it that has touch screens. There's a bit where Bruce Willis's character John McClane is touching on a screen, like cute toy. And obviously in Jurassic Park we see Lex using a touch screen in Jurassic Park. So the Nakatomi building, the company, uses technology that they could have helped InGen with later on down the line. And not only that, in my head canon, I consider Twister canon with Jurassic Park, because obviously no actors contradict, and it feels very much like it's in the universe of Jurassic. Directed by Jan de Bont, and Jan de Bont was the director of photography for Die Hard, so there is a connection there as well. So there you go. Thank you, the Eggman. Leo the Uterana says, I consider nothing canon to Jurassic Park other than Jurassic Park and maybe Jurassic World 1. Well, here's the reality of Jurassic canon, right? And this is the truth. This is when you break down all of the conversations that people have and all the theories and everything I've been saying. When you break it down, the truth of the matter is that there is literally only one pure Jurassic canon, and that's the novels, because it comes from the mind of Michael Crichton. That's it. The movies, they have their own canon and all this sort of stuff, but the best and the purest canon of Jurassic are the novels, because it comes from the mind of the man who came up with it in the beginning, and that trumps all. That trumps everything. So you're right. The only thing that is canon to Jurassic Park is Jurassic Park, the original book. Amber Productions says Twister is produced by Amblin, right? Produced by Amblin, Spielberg, Kathleen Kennedy, Frank Marshall. Written by Michael Crichton. For those of you who weren't here earlier, Twister is set in 1996 when the film came out. So in the timeline of Jurassic, the world didn't know of the dinosaurs yet. The San Diego incident hadn't happened. So no one's going to be talking about dinosaurs in this movie. It's not like, oh, did you hear about that dinosaur island off the coast of Costa Rica? No one would be saying that yet, because it wasn't public knowledge. So it fits in the canon storyline that way. And then not to mention, you've got the whole, like, you know, the scientists chasing down the tornadoes, and then the evil scientists chasing down the tornado, who very much act like InGen. Unrealized idea. Unrealized. Might as well be like Ludlow or something. Mark Davis says ER could count potentially, as because Crichton and Spielberg were involved. The thing is, like, with my rules, my personal rules of this little game is, like, if they have actors, that's the big one. If it has actors that overlap. There was a stunt actor in Die Hard last night, and I was like, oh no, I think he's in The Lost World. I think he's a stunt guy. He's one of the InGen mercs. I was like, oh no, my theory goes completely out the window. And then I looked him up, and it was actually Godzilla 1998 that he was in, that I was confusing him with. And I was like, oh, thank God. So I think the rules kind of bend if it's like some actor, some extra, like in the background that you recognize or something like that. That's like where it's like, meh. But if it's like a full-on character where the actor is playing two different characters, that's like, it breaks the rules for me. And I did mention before that arachnophobia is also one that is considered in my headcanon at the moment. I need to rewatch that, because at the time I watched it, I was like, yeah, okay, this is another chapter in my Jurassic headcanon. This is a story about this almost prehistoric spider coming back to this small town and terrorizing it, and it felt very much like Jurassic, and they were talking about dinosaurs at the beginning of the movie and all this sort of stuff, and I was like, ooh, this could play nicely. But then after I've sat on it for a while, I'm like, was I just a bit too hyped up? So I need to go back and watch it and reevaluate. But at the moment, I remember it being very much in line with Jurassic, and that was directed by Frank Marshall, who produces all the Jurassic World movies. No actors contradict. I think the only thing that kind of made it stand out was the music. didn't feel very Jurassic. Whereas like the music in Twister and Die Hard, you know, feels very much similar to like what you get from Jurassic. Skinny Devil Order says Arachnophobia is on TV here in Germany. I have it on as we talk. Oh, there you go. Canon this, canon that, canon up your ass. I don't think he would care, in all honesty, about Camp Cretaceous if Crichton was alive, but I don't usually like to put thoughts into people's heads who are dead, so who knows. I mean, he did originally write Jurassic Park for kids, so maybe that would play a part into it, but I don't know. It's just... Alex says, so how's Dino-Defenders Extreme Episode 4 coming along? It's still coming along. It's still going. We got a little ways to go, but I can feel the ending. It's so close. But I think it'll be worth the wait, hopefully. If not, doesn't matter. I'll be making episode 5 anyway. Would Perfect Storm be canon? Ooh, that's a good one. I'd have to look at the actors and see. Because the thing is, when you add these things, like now actors from Twister can't contradict with Die Hard, and Die Hard can't contradict with Perfect Storm. Now I know Mark Wahlberg and George Clooney are in that movie. I can't remember who else. Philip Seymour Hoffman's not in that movie, is he? Because he's in Twister. Keep up the good work. Thank you very much, man. Alex, just for you, and I'll play it again for everyone else. The reason it's taking so long this episode is because it's got so much animation in it. Like, I'm currently working on a fight between the male Megalosaurus and Calypso, this robot. So I've got all this animation to do where these two are fighting, and it's a lot. It's a lot. But we will get there. Skinny Devil or The Edge. With Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin. Interesting. Interesting shout. I remember the bear attack sequence in that movie really disturbing me when I was younger. Hello, Lewis. Whoa, 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 did I forget the scar on the other one? Lewis says, I like Camp Cretaceous, but King Kong 2005 is more Jurassic canon to me. If you watch that movie, watch it in black and white. Honestly, that movie is like next level in black and white. It's next level, man. Level up. Blue's entering the frame. It's time to level up. Meh, meh, meh. Leo Uterana says, what happened to the last season of Camp Cretaceous? It showed its true colours. It showed what Camp Cretaceous was always like. That's what happened. The mask fell completely off. Kamalasaurus says, one more question. What are your thoughts on the Smilodon being in the show? Don't you mean the saber-toothed tiger? I don't think they ever called it a Smilodon. They called it the saber-toothed tiger. So get its name right. My thoughts on that? I don't really care. Don't really care about it at all. Like, I have no feelings towards it. Because, one, they didn't really ask for us to even have feelings towards it. They just had it show up, right? Boom. Oh, and they expect people, which a lot of fans do, to go, oh, they got a Smilodon, they got the saber-toothed cat in there, oh. Expecting for it to actually do something different. It might as well have been just a velociraptor. Like, they might as well, it might as well have just been any other thing that just chases someone and wants to eat them. They didn't show it do anything different. They didn't show the reasons why they had it. They, like, it's just pointless. You might as well just had a raptor. Just have it be a raptor. It didn't even need to be a Smilodon. And this is someone who's saying I'm not really against them doing those sort of, like, cloning those sort of animals. I have no problem with that whatsoever. If you're going to do that, you gotta make it different from dinosaurs. Like, do something different about it. And they didn't. Big Chuck says, "Wow, Jack just did a Jack Sparrow. What was the Jack Sparrow thing I did?" Leo the Uterana says the dialogues were one of the worst parts of this season. Why? I'm not disagreeing necessarily, but why? Well, I mean, I am disagreeing that they're the worst aspects. Well, you said one of the worst. But why? I'm really interested to hear your thoughts. I don't really care in Jack Sparrow kind of tone. Okay. You're going to have to clip that and show me. I don't remember what I said. Why is the ramble gone? Ooh, 54 votes. And oh, it just changed. 55 votes. It's back up to no. 51%, 49% says yes. The Dino's big comeback finally appear, but it's just a few minutes later gone. No big role after this time. Yeah. You expect Cam Cretaceous to do something good? That's my thing. Like, you expect him to actually do something decent with these things? See you later, Lewis. I need a different frame. Oh, the screen is bright. What's going on here? No, I'll just draw it again. Isla Sauna Communications said, and I thought Rise of Skywalker was the king of killing a series. Oof. Oof. The Brads I was fine with, but the Brad X's is where it was a bit silly. Siaka says, all these folks expecting lore and logic. You get scanning. Get scanned, everyone. Get scanned. What did you expect? It's Cam Cretaceous. Honestly. I'm so happy, like, this is going to be, I'm going to gloat, okay? I'm going to gloat and then I'm going to retract and I'm going to regret gloating. But I need to get it out of my system. I am so happy that I'm on record saying right from the season 1 that I don't consider it canon. There you go, now I regret saying that, but it needed to get out there. It's like, this show. If the show wasn't canon, I wouldn't care. I would not care. It'd be fun. And it is fun, but it's not fun when you think about it existing in the exact world the movies are in. Kamalosaurus says, I honestly wish the show used more dinosaurs that were proclaimed to be extinct by the DPG, like the Metricanthosaurus. Yeah, I agree, that would have been cool. Siaka says, I've been gloating all day. Yeah. Ethan says, how much longer is this stream going to go? Probably about 30 minutes. Leo the Uterana says, I will not support something that is as bad as this or this part is my opinion, Fallen Kingdom. Well, if you don't support Fallen Kingdom, then you better not go watch Dominion. Because if you don't want to support these things, then don't go see Dominion. Don't watch Camp Cretaceous Season 5. Because those clicks in your wallet is supporting this franchise. I know when I watch Camp Cretaceous Season 4 that I'm supporting the series by giving that Netflix, like streaming all of it in one day just so I could do this, is telling them, Jack wanted to watch this. He was very excited for this Camp Cretaceous show. We'll recommend him more stuff like this, and we'll let the people at Universal know that how popular Camp Cretaceous is. But hey, the one hope I have is if Camp Cretaceous gets more and more crazy. I mean, I don't know how much crazier it can really get, but if it gets more and more crazy, my god, it makes Fallen Kingdom look like nothing. Fallen Kingdom is like so realistic compared to this show. Oh my god, that take from Isla Sorna Communications. I'd rather have Amber Society as canon. Ugh. I don't even know if I'd go that far. Ugh. Legendary says Fallen Kingdom stays true to its canon than CC. Yeah, outside of the map, really. The map's the only thing that is off. But even then, they've acknowledged that that's a mistake. Stupid Dinosaur says, I didn't even make it past the second episode of Season 2. I only watched the first season out of obligation and curiosity. Good. Good. I'm watching all of it out of curiosity, and also as someone who's worked in the canon of Jurassic, like, I want to know what's going on. And now it's like opening Pandora's box. I kind of regret it. It's like, oh god. Ugh. Brad X. Imagine taking a shot for every romance trope this season, says Siaka. Yeah. See, to me, that wasn't even like the worst aspect of it. But the thing is, the characters, I don't like any of the characters anyway. They all suck, and I've always said that. Like, Darius is probably the only character who's like, out of the main bulk of the characters, who's somewhat interesting and likable, but even then, not really. Don't really do that much stuff. I wish they just had more adult characters. Like, it would have been more interesting to have like an ACU member from the park, a veterinarian from Jurassic World who got trapped behind and everyone thought they were dead, a parent who lost their kid. Like, their kid got off the island, but the parent stayed there, and the parent is trying to get home to their kid, and Darius, a kid who's trying to get home. It would have been more interesting to have like a dynamic of characters like that. Or maybe, heck, even an InGen mercenary. A couple of InGen mercenaries. So you have your villains, villain characters who are there with those characters. And maybe even a paleontologist who was visiting the park out of curiosity, who becomes friends with Darius. Or maybe they even like bump heads about their dinosaur thing. Like a kid versus... Like, think Timmy and Alan Grant, but instead of... You know, Timmy just annoying Alan Grant. What if it's like they both indulge in each other's theories and have debates and stuff, and you have these characters, most of them adults, so you can actually kill the characters off, stuck on Isla Nublar and trying to survive, and then go on that adventure with no robots. Like, for me, that's more interesting than a TikToker, a farmer girl, a kid who is, you know, mad about hygiene and then instantly becomes a Rambo character with no real training or anything. A rich kid who likes to say "ticka ticka yeah, ticka woo" every 5 seconds. Who else have we got on the roster? Oh, a sports girl who has PTSD 6 months after the fact rather than the moment they're there. Surviving. And who else? Am I forgetting anyone? Like, this is a show where they went to the raptor paddock and Owen and Barry weren't there, and they recut. And I said this in my review of season 1. And you have Wu in the series, and he's not voiced by BD Wong. So why did they not have Owen, Claire, or any of the other major characters? They don't have to be voiced by the same people if it's a cartoon. Like, why? Why are we not seeing, like, these major characters? Why have we got a bunch of kids that really don't have anything of any worth to add to the world building of Jurassic except to be vessels to question, what's this? What's this? What's this? What's this? And it's like, how about we have some people who actually know what's going on, give some insight and an interesting logic to the universe. Siaka says there's an ongoing misconception that a kid audience can't relate to adult characters unless they're superheroes. Yeah, it's stupid. Like, when I was a kid, I related to Alan Grant when I was a kid, and Malcolm and Ellie, more so than I did Tim and Lex. As I've gotten older, I can relate to the kids now because, like, you know, I'm a father. I can see the kids and I can see their excitement, and it's like, as you get older, that's who you're looking to. When I was a kid, I know I don't speak for everyone, but like when I was a kid, yeah, that wasn't the case. But I do know of people who looked at Tim and was like, oh, I wish I could be him. And obviously when I was a kid, I thought, I wish I could go to an island like Tim or something like that. Not now, because I'm not stupid enough to go to an island with giant man-eating predators on it. But this show, why have they picked TikTokers? Why is the generation they're targeting so cringe? And I can tell you now, right? Who was that scientist lady in the new series? Turner, right? In season 4. I've heard a lot of people say that's an aspect of season of Camp Cretaceous that they liked this new season, right? Was that the scientist lady? Imagine her as a main character from season 1, who was a scientist left on Nublar because they thought they were dead. Like, let's say this group of people were together, some accident happened, and everyone thought they died, but they actually survived on Nublar, right? And that's Camp Cretaceous. Like, imagine her character being there from the beginning. May, that's her name, right? May. Yeah. But imagine that. Like, they can do those type of characters because they showed that they can with her, but the main characters are these bunch of kids. And you have the InGen Merc who's with them, like Hap from season 2, and you have a couple of those, and you have a veterinarian who could be a little bit like, I don't know, I don't want to say Dave, he's a bit crap. But you know what I mean. You guys who are listening to me, you understand what I'm saying. It's like they could have had these more interesting adult characters for the kids to watch, and actually get some knowledge from, some education from these characters, and then you break the barrier of like not having these kids just survive every incident they're in, because some of these characters could die, and you know, why not? Why not have done that? It would have been way more interesting. I use Jurassic Park the game as an example. Like, take the characters from Jurassic Park the game, put them in an animated series. They were more interesting. Dr. Sorkin and Jerry Harding and, you know, Jess and Yoda, as stupid as his name was, and Billy or whatever, those characters. Like, they're way more interesting than Brooklyn and Ben and Fido, you know, that character from Camp Cretaceous. Good old Fido. They tried with that character. That's the problem with like the Camp Cretaceous, the way they've targeted the audience, right? And this is a big one, right? This is the big point to make. They're trying to make a show targeting what they think kids would like, instead of thinking, let's make something that we would like, and that the kids will hopefully latch onto. Because like when I was a kid, I didn't expect to be so attached to Alan Grant when I watched Jurassic Park. I didn't know I was gonna like, I didn't even know what a paleontologist was till I saw him. And then there he was like this cool guy on screen, throwing that flare for the T-Rex, all that sort of stuff. You know, rescuing the kids. I was like, this guy's awesome. Dressed up for him for World Book Day. You know, because of Alan Grant in the novel, even though I look like the one from the movie. It's like they didn't make Jurassic Park thinking, oh, you know what kids might find cool? A paleontologist. And they didn't write it like that. It's more like, no, let's write a paleontologist because it feels right, and you make the character appealing through his character and what he does. You don't try and meet a tick box on like a chart. Skinny Devil Lord says, Camp Cretaceous Season 7. Darius wakes up from a dream, revealing that Jurassic Park 1 to 6 were a nightmare and only Camp Cretaceous is the true canon. Yeah, I agree with Isla Sauna Communications. Enough hybrids. Endoraptor was a good stop, but no, since we have gone on to ongoing asphyxiation. Well, that's the thing. Like in the movie storyline, they told all they needed to tell with the hybrid storyline. Like they're done, right? We're getting no more hybrids in the movies, but because they've said no more hybrids in the movies, all the external media is like, yeah, we can have as much hybrids as possible. And okay, whatever. But the fact it's meant to be canon, that's what annoyed me. And I said this earlier in the stream, but I will repeat myself again. Like, if you went back to just after Jurassic World came out, and you went up to fans and were like, guess what? In 2021, there's going to be a canon storyline with a hybrid made from the Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3. And guess what? The Spinosaurus from Jurassic Park 3 makes an appearance. Everyone would be thinking of this crazy, awesome Spinosaurus hybrid, right? And this storyline involving the Spinosaurus that is just like, whoa. Cut to 2021, what do you get? Spinoceratops, whatever the hell that thing's called, yeah, Spinoceratops, that stupid baby looking thing, and you get the Spinosaurus in a desert surrounded by robots eating a Smilodon. You'd be like, if you showed the past fandom that, I bet a lot of people would be like, nah, no, don't want that. Yeah, it is the tricycloplots. Thing is, though, I have nothing against hybrids. It's like, if you're going to make hybrids, make them cool. Not make them for babies. Gary Pfeiffer says, goodbye everyone, I'll remember you all in therapy. The thing is, at the end of the day, I don't really care. I'm only making this stream as I said earlier, as the stages of grief for this world that I was invested in, as it slowly slips through my fingers like the sands of time. It's going to be freeing though, I think, once Dominion's out. So funny. What I'm going to do is, once Dominion's out, I'll make a couple of videos on like my headcanon, all that sort of stuff. And then, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ban, you know, on YouTube, you can go in and you can like block certain words from being said. I'm going to go in and I'm going to write as many Jurassic Park related words as possible and block anyone from talking about Jurassic to me. I'm going to make this channel all about something completely different. Dino-Defenders Extreme. That's right. You madman, says Stupid Dinosaur. Could you imagine? I just go in and just block Indominus, Endoraptor, E750, Spinoceratops, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom, The Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, JP 3, JW, JP, TW, TLW, TLW, semicolon JP, JP1, JP2, JP3, JP4, Dominion. Like, just get rid of everything. InGen, Hammond, Malcolm, Grant, Ellie, Maserani, Claire, Owen, Maisie. Just ban everything. Isa Sauna communicates this. Anyone also want to know how the hell Darius and crew survived forever? I mean, he has Stormtrooper syndrome gone worldwide. I don't quite know what you mean by that, but I will say this. Like, there's a joke in the show of season 4 where they joke right at the beginning about how they're wearing the same set of clothes or something, like, that they need to change. And while for a cartoon that makes for a fun joke, because cartoons, they always wear the same clothes, right? Except Dino-Defenders. But the inner canon nerd in me was raging. He was like, nah! There was hotels with clothes. There was gift shops with clothes. There's Jurassic World, the Indominus and T-Rex fight over one. You see all the t-shirts and everything. It would have been more interesting to have these characters wearing Jurassic World theme park merch each season. Like, just change it up. Just change their attire. Make them look different. Give them their own unique looks that way. Just, and that would make sense because they were on the island and there was things there, but the animated, they just don't want to animate that. Just didn't want to do it. The only term that would be allowed is Camp Cretaceous. No, it would only be Scanon. That'd be the only word. Right, let's do one more. So I'm going to do... There's going to be 2 more before we get to the frame where he's looking directly at the camera. Thereabouts. So this is where the head gets tilted. So if there's going to be 2 more, we'll meet in the middle. I want the point to be here. Oop. Kamalasaurus says, if I was stuck on these Nublar, I'd definitely take leftover cloves. Yeah, exactly. Can be defined. Now what I need to do is make the horn a lot bigger. That'll do. Skinny Devil Lord says, I still wonder what Colin meant with his favourite episode being in season 4. I think someone pointed out that he had favorited a tweet, which someone said, guessing it was episode 1. So it's safe to assume, until further confirmation, that it was episode 1. Which makes me laugh. It was none of the Brads. None of the episodes with Brads in it. Kamalasaurus says, okay, this is my last question. What do you think the modern clone for the Giga will look like? For me, I'm hoping it will look like LWG concept art by Miles Teeves. Well, after reading all that, I can't say, because I've seen the movie in question and I'm under NDA, so I can't talk about it. I've seen it. I've seen the whole... Well, I've seen it. Let's just put it that way. I've seen the whole movie. Eva says, well, gotta go. Thanks for sharing some of your headcanon, and I really hope that Dominion or Season 5 changes your mind and gets you back on the Jurassic franchise. Oh, don't worry. Dominion, like I said, Dominion is the shining beacon of hope at the end of it. I've got no worries about Dominion. And my opinion on that, trust me. But it's after Dominion. It's everything after that. I can't talk about it. I'm completely under NDA. Mark Davies says, so you under NDA until the review embargo lifts, or are there still things you won't be able to discuss after that? No, it's until the review embargo lifts. Me and some guys were invited to go watch the film. Colin did mention this in an article. He mentioned that he'd already screened it to some super fans. I hate that term, but he did say, and I was part of that group, and took some of the guys. We've already recorded our spoiler review of it, even though it was like an early cut of the movie, and it's on this channel, but it's premiering in a year's time, like however long is left. Like, you can see it on this channel. It's sitting there waiting to go. Rex Gayman says, would you happen to know what projects Colin will be doing after Jurassic World series? No. I did hear rumours about something to do with Atlantis, but I don't know how true that was. I think it's like it was like a movie thing. I don't know. You know, like The Lost City of Atlantis or whatever. Right, you know what? I'm actually going to end the stream there because I'm getting tired. I'm not talking about Dominion whatsoever. I'm going to end the stream because I'm tired and I need to go to bed. And I've hit the limit. Ugh. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's stream. It's been... James just said, I voted twice. You cannot, no, you've just skewed the voting system. You can't vote twice. Now I don't know if your 2 votes account for the no or the yes. The no is winning in the poll. by 51% to 49. So James, if we take off one of yours, which I know, I'm assuming you've put both of them, used Unicast to get another no vote. But that doesn't count if it's you, so that means it is literally a 50-50 vote. Because James just admitted openly that he did 2 votes. So if I end the poll now... James, what are you doing? See, this is why polling and voting online is just no. Don't ever do it. Or don't ever believe it, because you don't know how many people are voting. Okay, Hawkins says it was Steve. Was it actually Steve? I don't think so. Oh, 62 votes. It's now 52%. Now I'm going to end it, James. Okay, so the poll ended. And it was 51% no. Yes, 48. But I also feel like that it was 50-50 after all that with 62 people. So there you go. It is literally up in the air if it's canon or not, according to the fans who watch this stream. In this humble fan's opinion, I think Camp Cretaceous can be thrown onto the soft canon pile because it's just not canon. It's fundamentally flawed. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the stream, and I will see you again in the very near future. Have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.